As a manager, you're constantly at a crossroads. Your team brings you a dozen different opportunities. Should you invest in a marketing campaign to boost sales of your current product? Or should you invest in R&D for a new product that your business customers are asking for? Should you focus on stealing market share from your biggest competitor? Or should you try to grow the entire market for everyone? Do you plan your production based on this month's sales spike? Or on the slow, steady trend you've seen over the past 3 years? Each path requires different resources, different strategies, and leads to a different future. How do you choose the right one? Navigating these choices without a map is a recipe for getting lost. That map, in the world of business strategy, is the classification of demand. It's a framework that allows you to see the business landscape clearly, to understand exactly what kind of demand you're dealing with, and to make the right strategic moves. It helps you answer the fundamental question, what business are we really in? Before we explore the different types of demand, we must understand what drives it. These are the determinants of demand. While price is the most obvious, a professional manager analyzes a much broader set of factors. These include the price of the good itself, consumer income, consumer tastes and preferences, the prices of related goods like substitutes and complements, and consumer expectations about the future. But we can go deeper. We must also consider demographic factors like population size and age structure, the availability of credit facilities like EMIs, government policies such as taxes and subsidies, and of course, your own marketing and promotion efforts. The relationship between these variables can be expressed in a formal demand function. Now let's classify demand by its origin. This is the crucial distinction between B2C and B2B worlds. Direct demand is for consumers' goods, products that satisfy a personal want. This is the B2C space. The buyer is an individual, the sales cycle is short, and marketing focuses on brand, emotion, and mass communication. Derived demand is for producers' goods, the capital and intermediate goods used to make other products. This is the B2B space. The demand for factory robots is derived from the demand for the cars they build. Here, the buyer is a business. The sales cycle is long and complex, and marketing focuses on relationships, technical specifications, ROI calculations, and reliability. A manager in the B2B space must be an expert on their customer's customer. Next, you need to understand your place in the market. Industry demand is the total demand for a product from all companies combined. For example, the total number of smartphones sold in India in a year. Company demand is your slice of that pie. Your slice is your market share. If 10 crore smartphones were sold last year, industry demand, and your company sold 2 crore of them, company demand, your market share is 20%. This single number tells you if you're a leader, a challenger, or a niche player. This leads to a critical managerial checklist. Are you growing faster or slower than the industry? Is the overall industry demand growing or shrinking? Where is the white space or untapped potential in the market? Answering these questions is fundamental to strategy. Even within your market share, not all customers are the same. The total market is everyone who buys a certain product. But savvy managers divide that total market into smaller, more manageable market segments. A segment is a group of customers with shared characteristics, like age, income, or lifestyle. For example, in the apparel industry, the total market is huge. But a company like Fabindia doesn't try to sell to everyone. They focus on a specific segment, urban consumers who prefer ethnic handcrafted textiles. By understanding the unique demand of this segment, they can tailor their products, pricing, and marketing perfectly, creating intense brand loyalty and higher profit margins than if they tried to be everything to everyone. This brings us to another checklist. Who is your core customer segment? What are their unique needs and pain points? How can you tailor your product, messaging, and distribution to serve this segment better than anyone else? Effective segmentation is the heart of modern marketing. Finally, you must consider the element of time. Short-term demand is about immediate fluctuations, often driven by seasonality or promotions. Think of the demand for air conditioners in Varanasi. It skyrockets from April to July. That's a predictable short-term spike. A manager uses short-term forecasts for operational decisions like inventory management and workforce scheduling. Long-term demand, however, is about the deeper structural shifts in a market. The slow but steady rise in the adoption of electric vehicles, driven by environmental concerns and government policy, is a long-term trend. A smart manager uses long-term forecasts for strategic decisions, like building a new factory or entering a new country. They manage their inventory for the short-term seasonal rush, but they invest their R&D funds based on the long-term trend that will define their industry for the next decade. Confusing a short-term spike for a long-term trend can lead to disastrous overinvestment. Just as we classify demand, we must classify our goods. First, you have non-durable consumer goods, things that are used up quickly, like a bar of soap or a cup of coffee. Their demand is frequent and often habitual. Their key determinants are price, brand loyalty, widespread distribution, and promotional activities. Second, there are durable consumer goods, products with a long life, like a car, a washing machine, or a smartphone. Their demand is infrequent, expensive, and highly sensitive to economic confidence and credit availability. Key determinants here are consumer income, interest rates, technological changes, and after-sales service. And third, you have capital goods, or producers' goods. These are the things that make other things: the factory machinery, the software, the delivery trucks. Their demand is derived, and it's a powerful indicator of business investment and economic health. Their demand is determined by the health of the industries they serve, interest rates for financing, and government policies on investment. Let's zoom in on the unique challenge of forecasting demand for durable goods. Unlike a packet of biscuits, people don't buy a refrigerator every month. The problem is twofold. You have new demand from first-time buyers, and you have replacement demand from existing owners. These two groups are driven by very different factors. Forecasting replacement demand is especially tricky. It depends on the product's physical life, but more importantly, its technological life. Your perfectly good 4G smartphone suddenly feels obsolete when 5G becomes the standard. This is called technological obsolescence. Furthermore, during an economic downturn, consumers can easily postpone the purchase of a new TV or car, creating pent-up demand that is difficult to predict. This makes forecasting for durables a high-stakes game of psychology, technology, and economics. Managers must use sophisticated tools like survival analysis and monitor service data to get this right. So let's bring it all together. Imagine you're a manager at Maruti Suzuki. You use your strategic map. You see the long-term direct demand shifting towards SUVs. Within the total market, you identify a key segment, middle-class families in Tier 2 cities. You analyze your company's current market share in that segment versus your competitors. Based on this, you decide to launch a new, affordable SUV. This in turn creates derived demand for capital goods. You invest in new assembly line robotics. You plan for a short-term launch promotion, while basing your production capacity on the long-term forecast for this durable good, carefully considering the replacement cycle. Mastering the classification of demand allows you to see the full picture. It moves you from making isolated guesses to making integrated, data-driven strategic choices. It's how you build a resilient, forward-looking business. So the final question for you as a manager is, have you mapped your demand?